PenPal. In the era of WhatsApp, Messenger, and PayPal, I only saw the postman coming to my house to deliver bills, letters from the bank, and to collect his festival bonus. Of course, the Amazon delivery guy comes much more frequently. My mother would tell me stories about her childhood when she and her family would write letters to their relatives and wait for replies. In the current version of WhatsApp, I commit unease when people don't get those double blue ticks 15 minutes after I've sent the message. And in the times when your last seen at status confirms your well being, I can't really believe the patience the generation of my mother's age had. In a way, that world had remained completely oblivious to me. But as fate had it, not for always. One day, while browsing through some forums, I came across someone with whom I clicked almost instantly. We both had kept false online names based on our favorite characters from the same fandom. On talking further, we found out that we both were of similar age and shared several more interests. In a couple of days, we became really good friends. One day, I returned from school and was checking my messages when I got a ping from a new friend. Asked about our day and shared other details. Then, suddenly she asked for my address. It felt a little odd for once, but then I did share my address. For the next couple of days, we kept talking like we usually did. Once or twice, I felt a little scared about sharing my address, but then I totally forgot about it. Later one day, when I came back from school, my mother told me that I got a mail. Well, this was one of the first for me, since I never got any posts. I went to my room as quickly as I could and found the letter on the bed. It was from my friend. It was such a happy feeling. I had no idea that getting a physical mail feels so much more better than getting an email. I do not know how much I had anticipated this moment, not until it was right here staring at my face. I opened the letter without even changing my school uniform and read it. My mom came to ask me about the letter and to call me for lunch. I told her it was from my friend. After lunch, I found the best notepad that I possessed, which is definitely a big deal for a fifth grader, and then sat down to write back to my friend. In her letter, she had mentioned about the last vacation that she had taken to Agra with her family. Well, I had never been to see the Taj, so I replied with the last place that I had gone to. Having written the letter, rewritten it a couple of times, and checked it a couple more times, I was sure that I had drafted a somewhat good reply to send, for it being my first reply. But I was not sure how would this go through post to her house. I had of course seen those red post boxes around corners, and I also knew that there were post offices in every region in the city. But converting my notepad paper to a letter was something I was not sure of. Usually, the media depicts mail as small brown envelopes or postcards. Now, my sheet was nothing like that, and I was completely sure no matter how I would fold it, I could not make it that small brown envelope. Next morning, I did what I always would do in situations like these. I went to my dad and told him my problem. He told me that it did not matter the color of the envelope or the size of the envelope as long as it was properly sealed, followed the rules, and had the proper amount of stamps. Well, he offered that he would post this letter for me and then, for future use, he would bring me my own supplies of envelopes and stamps. That sorted it out. That evening, when I logged in, I told my friend that I got her letter and finally I was ready with the reply. She suddenly asked me to be quiet. Why? She told me it was her secret wish. She always wanted a pen pal. When we started talking, she thought that I would be her ideal pen friend, and so she wanted to try that out with me. But she told me never, never to discuss our letters online again because it was to take the thrill out of those letters. I never understood really what she meant, but I was game. In the next couple of weeks, I understood it much more clearly. Every 9 to 10 days, I would get a letter from my friend. We would write about anything from our lives. We would share stuff that probably we would not share online to a stranger. With every letter, we were becoming really good friends. I would reply to her with my experiences. And every time I held that sealed envelope in my hands, it would feel so amazing. There was a happy anticipation that built in me that made that small letter so special. There was also a long gap between two letters. If the next letter would not come for like 15 days, I would be so restless. Days passed, so did years. With time, we both moved from school to college and became busy with our lives. Obviously, communication grew a lot less and life became busy. We became lost in our new lives and a lot of new responsibilities. One thing that, however, remained were the letters. Well, they were, of course, not as frequent as they once used to be. They were less frequent, and I would even say they even grew smaller with course of time. Usually now, I get a letter every month or so, or sometimes even less. However, whenever I get a letter, I make sure that I immediately take out 15 minutes from my day. I steal those 15 minutes to read the letter, sit down, think about it, and write a good reply that's worthy of the letter. Those 15 minutes are precious to me. Those 15 minutes teach me to live outside the digital world. Those 15 minutes teach me to value friendship. Those 15 minutes teach me to be patient. Many people around me ask, why don't I choose a more faster way of communication? I mean, my friend and I, we only communicated now through our letters, even though we had each other's numbers and email address. But I could always tell them that I liked it better. And believe it or not, this was also special. I find it much more real than all the emails and the texts that I have received or sent put together. It made me feel happier than the happiness I felt checking the last seen status of my crush. And it definitely feels much more joyful knowing that somebody is in anticipation of your letter as you are of theirs.